Okay. I would start with just personally being able to deal with adversity. He came in highly recruited, right out the gate, had success, was injured, and then comes back and has an unbelievable year that next year. We start off the season and things may not have went the way we wanted to. He was able to deal with that, figure out what's the best way for me to approach it myself to get through this and to come out, better on the other side. So I think just from a leadership standpoint, a maturity standpoint, and then now you're seeing the result in the way that he's playing, down the stretch.
How does he handle? I mean, everybody has such different leadership styles. But it was funny hearing him talk about growing up, because also watching Tim Tebow,
Right.
and just really liking the way he led and all these
hmm
plays. But how would you define his leadership style?
I'd say he's a quiet servant leader. He's the kind of guy that's just going to come to work every day, put his best foot forward in all aspects of his life. He's going to demand the respect and demand the competitive toughness of his teammates, not by asking them for it, but by demanding it by the way that he works, the way that he prepares. And so everybody knows that they're going to get Deshaun's best, and they know his confidence comes from the way that he prepares.
Have you seen him over the last year or so use the film room more? Coach Scott was just talking about how that's where he's seen him develop, is just knowing what the defense was trying to do instead of just knowing what he's trying to do.
Correct. Oh, definitely. And obviously, graduating early gave him more time. And so you're noticing that he's able to focus in, extremely hard on the details. And he watches film different than any other player that I've ever been around. He watches it like a coach. Obviously players go in and watch, and sometimes they get caught up in just watching the game. But he's studying the strategy, he's studying the techniques, he's studying the foot alignments, the depths. He's studying everything about those guys, like a true veteran quarterback would.
How can you tell that? Is it based off the questions he's asking while he's
Oh
watching?
yeah. So when we do our Monday meetings, it's basically a scouting report intro to the defense we're getting ready to play. And so we talk about different aspects, and I get up last and I talk about the blitzes we're going to see. And so he'll throw some hints out there like, Coach, did you notice that if this safety's foot's back, he's spinning cover two? And he just lets me know. It's music to my ears, but then also, too, it makes me better because then now, I got to make sure that I'm always recentered, refocused week in and week out and not getting caught in the routine of watching film the same way, that I'm making sure that I have the details down because I know my quarterback does. Very good challenge. I think collectively the best group we've seen all year. They got three really, really good corners, that they rotate in and out. Probably all three going to be NFL guys. The safety, the young guy Hooker, is probably the best safety I've seen, and we've played some really, really good safeties in our league. But he covers a lot of ground, has great instincts, unbelievable ball skills. So I think it's going to create some opportunities for some 50-50 balls, and we're going to have to make competitive plays.
Probably looking ahead to the future, how important has the carries and the reps they're taking with defense gotten important those things going into next year?
Oh, no question, because those guys are going to have an opportunity if Wayne decides and he's put himself in position to move on to the next level. The position is going to be wide open, and I think that is critical that those guys get not just only practice reps but game reps as well, so they understand the importance of those practice reps. Because on our practice field, that's where we win championships, because we're going against some of the best talent on defense, and we create an environment with the intensity that we need so that the game is actually slower than practice. So it's going to be huge for those guys, and that position is potentially going to be wide open, and there's not going to be a drop-off. So whoever fills that spot is going to have to live up to the standards that we have for the starting running back.
Where have you seen Fabian improve the most over the course of the season?
His technique and pass protection. Was very, very pleased and surprised when he came in terms of his knowledge. So I thought that his knowledge was his high school coach did a great job of having him prepared to be able to identify defenses. Technique was an issue with picking up blitzes, so I've seen improvement there. And then, too, understanding just the different schemes, because, at the college level, most times when you have a running back of his caliber in high school, you're going to flip the ball on the perimeter and let him run because he's faster than everybody. But we have to run him between the tackles. We have to run him off tackle. We have to run him on speed sweep. So we do a lot of different things, and each one, takes a different level of patience, a different level of understanding. And so I'm seeing his knowledge base of what we're trying to do schematically improve as well.
Last year, national semifinal game in the second quarter, you make a call to Hunter throws the ball to the defensive line.
Right. Coach Sweeney made that call.
About that call, sets up, and just that moment, that stage.
Okay. So
Christian was telling me the other day, just kind of created a whole
So I got to be honest. Didn't know. Obviously, Coach Sweeney is in control of that. Those are game management decisions that he makes, and all I'm listening for on third down is really on second down is okay, coach, am I in two down territory? What do I have to do on third down? You think run or throw? Just kind of, he has a feel of it. But when I heard that call, we're doing what? I was like, all right, boys, let's roll with it. And and they converted. He said, hey, just have a play ready. And then we were able to have a play ready. And I think we came back maybe pretty quickly with a quick little trick play to Ray Ray. So we were able to set that up.
And you see this year how he's kind of developed into some other things.
Yeah.
Use the offensive blocker.
Yep.
At the touchdown.
Yep.
Did that kind of start the monster that is become?
I think so. And he's the kind of guy that can handle it, and he's a very, very unselfish team guy, and he takes pride in whatever you ask him to do. So if you ask him to play three technique where he started, he's going to take unbelievable pride. Now he's been playing defensive end because of some of the injuries during the season, took unbelievable pride. And then I think it blew up. I get a lot of pressure on my social media about the Dexter and the Christian package and involving that, but it was something that we needed. Obviously being a spread offense, we're not up under center much, but anytime you get into a short yardage situation, especially on the goal line, you got to have a package that you can go to where you feel like you can hand the ball off and go get a yard or two.
So he's called it, he's running it. Are we about to see him throw it?
I don't know about that one, I'll say this though, Pittsburgh, in preparing for them, they put some pressure on me. They ran a reverse to their tackle. They ran a throwback to their tackle, so now Mitch Hyatt wants a couple plays. And then I think the Chiefs just had a D lineman throw a touchdown pass and a jump pass, the Tebow jump pass. So then now Christian wants that. So I'm getting pressure from everybody. But no, just the package that we have has been very productive for us throughout the course of the year. We got to continue to tweak it game in and game out. But biggest thing is just what are they going to give us, and then we'll create the play to hopefully defeat it. I hope so.
Have you seen another defense this year disguise themselves like the Rams?
I think that not from a coverage standpoint. I think they do an unbelievable job, and the reason being is because they got great players, they got great talent. They don't ask those guys to do a whole lot, so those guys are very, very comfortable within the system, and so they know what they're doing. They communicate well, so they can disguise from a coverage standpoint. And then they don't have a whole lot of different coverages that they're getting to. But the problem is for a quarterback, everything is post snap, and so everything looks the same pre-snap, and then they got to read it post snap and make decisions. And that's what separates the good quarterbacks from the great ones, or the ones that can read coverage post snap.
What's the best part of all this then? What's the best part of actually being here and going through this?
To be honest with you, is when I go back to my hotel room and I got AJ and Ace, and man, they're having a blast. I got a 14-month-old, and I mean he's excited about everything. But Coach Sweeney allowing them to be a part of this experience, and so I think that puts it in a perspective for us and helps us to stay grounded, and so we can continue to mentor young men like Wayne Gallman and Jordan Leggett and see those guys grow and develop, because Coach Sweeney treats us so well and allows our families to be a part. So being here, they get a chance to be a part of this, helps us to get recentered and understand that it is a game, and there's a lot of things at stake, but at the same time too, it's not who we are. It doesn't define us. So just having them a part of this experience is unbelievable for me.
Is that as big a part of the culture as anything?
Oh, no question. For us at Clemson, we talk about family, but we don't just talk about family. We live family. And I shared this story with a lot of people. I said one of the things that and I don't get caught up in a lot. I try to stay even keel, always, the same person. But I got a little emotional last year riding into the national championship when AJ sitting next to me on the bus, and that doesn't happen in college football. And I think that's what separates, Coach Sweeney and his vision, and he's showing everybody that, yes, you can win at a high level, you can receive all the accolades that you want, but at the end of the day, that's not what defines you. And really what defines us is the way that all these young men, that are here interviewing today already have their college degrees. These guys have upheld the standard of staying out of trouble, and they're all going to be good fathers and husbands, and I think that's what separates our program. That's Deshaun's decision. I'm extremely grateful to Deshaun Watson because he's made me a better person. He's made me a better coach, and No, he's put Clemson into the position that we're in, and so he owes us nothing else. And obviously, if he decides he wants to come back, and the greatest thing about it is he's put himself in position. He already has his college degree. He's put himself in position if he wants to move on to the next level. So that's on him. I won't talk about it. The only conversations I'll have with him is, understand that when you make that decision, if you do decide that you want to move on, surround yourself with good people, because there's going to be a lot of people that you're a little bit insulated here at Clemson because of the environment and the culture that we have. But when you step into that arena, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to prey on your good heart, and you got to make sure that you understand how to say no when you need to say yes, and make sure that you continue to chase what it is that you've been chasing right here. And I don't think he's chasing stats. I don't think he's chasing numbers or awards. I think he's chasing just the satisfaction of knowing that he's the best that he could possibly be. And if he does that, if he moves on to the next level, I think he'll be one of the best that ever played. The last memory I have is having to stand up in that locker room and address an offensive unit, that gave everything that they had that came up a little bit short. And that's been my motivation all year in telling those guys that I don't want to be in that position where I got to figure out what to say to you, after a game like that. So that's one of the biggest memories. And also, too, just taking a moment to realize how fortunate and how special it is to be, in this position, in this place, and have this opportunity with a group of coaches, that I love, that I truly appreciate, and a group of players, that I truly love and appreciate. Right. I don't think we're going to that extent. Really all we've said is, hey, we have an opportunity to change, how the outcome in that locker room after the game. We know how we felt afterwards, but the biggest thing is let's understand why we didn't have an opportunity to celebrate after that game, and it was nothing big. It was little things. It was your leverage on a kickoff return. It's Deshaun just following through on that sprint out and hitting Hunter Renfrow when he's wide open. Wayne Gallman, don't squeeze the pocket too quick on a simple inside zone handoff. So just focusing on those little things and paying attention to details so that we can have the ultimate outcome that we want.
Tony, special teams played a factor in both your playoff games last year. What do you think that unit is?
Coach Sweeney challenged, and one of the things that I love about Coach Sweeney is he's got vision, and he's always putting things into perspective. And one of the things that he challenged our entire team is, we finished towards the bottom of the ACC in special teams rankings, that year, and so we had to change that this year. And you've noticed that our kickoff coverage team has been better. We've been more productive on kickoff return. We had some punt returns early in the season that almost went the distance. So I think everybody is bought in and decided to give a little bit more to special teams. And you're seeing that not only are we doing better, but those guys are making a difference in each and every game that we play in.
The guy who pushed running back, what was your reaction to that?
I don't know the factors behind it, and it's not fair for me to speak on it. And I respect their decisions. I understand that everybody's got to do what's best for them, and I wish them the best. But I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion.
Is there something you want to know about that position? Everyone's saying something from the trend. When I say running back, shelf life.
Right. I don't know. I think that every year you get something new in college football, and I think there's a trend, and hopefully it'll cycle back. Because again, I think college is still, there's purity of the game. It's all about the team, and I don't want to see it transition into where it's more of the pro mentality, where it's an individual game. Because I think that's what makes football so special, is just the unity of the team, the bonds that you have, the relationships that you have. But again, I don't know their situation, so I can't speak on it.
That being said, how do you help guys whose goal, almost every guy you got, whether or not they're going to make it to the next level, the goal is to make it to the next level. How do you help them enjoy a time in their life that pretty much any NFL guy you talk to will say, I wish I could go back? From your vantage point, what can you say or do that helps them enjoy this process along the way?
I think that it starts with how they see me interact with my wife, how they see me interact with my children, see me as a not just a football coach, but as a father, as a husband. And then when I have opportunities, don't just always talk about football. Talk about real life, educate them on their finances, what the future is going to look like, so that they can kind of see, man, maybe I'm not quite ready for that. Maybe I want to take a little bit of time and enjoy these couple of years, and then just share my experiences with them. But then at the same time, too, help them to understand what it takes to truly be successful. I think that a lot of the guys with aspirations to go to the NFL, they don't know what it's about. They don't realize that it's a job and it's 7 a.m. to 5 every day, and then you got to be a regular person, and you're in college, you have no bills. Just enjoy this and don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush to grow up.
Tony, you've been around Ray Ray a long time. How has he handled the ups and downs of this season?
I've seen a lot of maturity, in Ray Ray, a guy that came out of Hillsborough County as a leading rusher in the county history, and get off to a good start, battle some injury, was really doing really good early in the season. Then things kind of shifted in the offense, and targets started going other places just because of what the defensive structure. But to see him continue to work every day, to be unselfish, not to complain, considering that he was a 5-star kid coming out of high school, just really proud of the maturity that I've seen take place in his growth.
Have you and then Mike been able to kind of lead him along this year and get him over some of those hurdles? It's been a roller coaster for him all season long.
I think it's not just myself or Mike. I think it's Coach Sweeney, Coach Scott, it's Jeff Davis, everybody in our program. And, that's what I love about, our program is there's guys for them to talk to, because guys are going to be comfortable talking about certain things with certain guys, but having that village mentality where they can go to somebody and have confidence that what they're going to say is going to be confidential, but at the same time have the respect to receive, the guidance that they get from those individuals. It's been pretty good. The weather's a little bit crazy. I battle with sinus issues, so I got up and decided to run yesterday morning. It was a little bit cooler than I wanted to, and then I'm dressed in sweats for practice, and I'm burning up. So getting used to the weather, but just really love the scenery. An opportunity to see something different. Obviously, we're used to all the green and the trees, but here you're out at practice and you see the mountains in the backdrop, and it's just been great to have my family here, and my boys got to go. They're going to the zoo today. They're doing a bunch of fun and cool things, so it's been good. No question, because you got guys that this was their first time on an airplane. It's tough for your first time to be a 4.5-hour flight, but, for some of these guys, these redshirt freshmen, they've never flown before, so that's a new learning experience for them. And people don't realize, how critical that is when a guy's got to learn how to navigate through an airport on his own, and then coming out here and seeing that, man, there's a lot more to where we came from, the hometown that we came from. And I think that's what Coach Sweeney does a great job is helping these guys to think outside of the box and not just to be pigeoned into what you came from or where you came from and see that there's a big world out there. And then now they can have, some aspirations to maybe come out here, and some guys might fall in love with living out here. And so I think it's good for them.
Coach, being a defensive guy, or excuse me, being an offensive guy, looking at a defense that's ranked 4th in the nation, I know that's got to light a fire on you to go out there and say, you know what, we've got just as good as an offense. Is that kind of how your offense approach from a team standpoint spins in preparation?
I think that we don't put a whole lot of emphasis on the numbers. We just watch the tape, and I think the tape reflects that it's the number 4 defense in the country. They're very sound, and so for us, the pressure is to make sure that we don't get carried away with the extra time and do things that are out of character, that we put together the most sound plan and make sure the guys understand the plan and then go out and execute. And the great thing about it is when you get to this point in the season, I think scheme is not going to be as big a factor as people think. It's going to be the execution and the one-on-one matchups. And that's what I'm looking forward to because, again, they got unbelievable players on defense. We feel pretty confident in the guys that we have on offense, and I think it's going to be good matchups all over the field.
When you look at the quarterbacks, you got Deshaun, obviously, and you got JT. From an offensive coordinator position, you got to look at these two and say, man, these are two really good quarterbacks.
Right. And then the biggest challenge is figure out how they're going to try and defend. Each person is going to have an approach on how they want to defend Deshaun. Venable's going to have an approach on how he wants to defend Barrett. So the biggest thing for us offensively is to have a sound plan, but then also have answers built in case schematically they do change up a little bit and show something different because they got time, and things that they want to work on and things they want to improve upon, and they got a whole season of work to pull from. And so we just got to make sure our guys are familiar with these guys and then at the same time confident in our plan, but confident in their preparation so they can go win the one-on-one matchups.
These guys are only giving up like 14 points a game, and you guys are averaging 40, so something's got to give.
Well, hopefully it'll give in our direction, but you can see why they're only giving up 14 points. They can create a great pass rush with 4. Their linebackers are very instinctual. They drop into cover lanes, create tip balls. Their secondary can play man coverage, and so they force you to throw low percentage throws. In the run game, they can stop it with 6. They don't have to get an extra guy to the hat. So if you're going to build a defense, this is what you want it to look like. A great pass rush with 4, very instinctual linebackers that can cover sideline to sideline, and then have a secondary that's full of a bunch of NFL guys. you know, I think that everything has a time and a place, and I think sometimes you get a mic put in front of you, and it's hard to be able to not say what your first reaction is. But I don't think that he meant any disrespect towards JT Barrett, and I think that he's the kind of guy that focuses on his play, is confident in his ability, but at the same time too, you don't want to create any situation where you give them any kind of added motivation, because this game right here, has enough pressure of its own. If it would have been flipped, obviously we would have pointed out to our guys to let them know. But at the end of the day, you're not going to win this game off of emotion. You're not going to win this game off of trash talk. You're not going to win this game because the other team said something about us. You're going to win this game by waking up that day fully prepared, having made your mind up because you put in great preparation, and you go out and you win your one-on-one matchups. That's how this game's going to be won. Talking's not going to be a factor. I mean, this is two great teams with great players at all positions, and the ones that wake up that morning with the right mindset to go out and physically and mentally execute is going to be the team that wins the game.
Being back in Arizona, not necessarily for unfinished business, but just to get a win here and kind of get the monkey off your back, so to speak. Is that kind of something that's in the back of the minds of the players, and not necessarily the coaches, but more so the players, to go out with the victory instead of what happened last year?
I think that just being back in this situation after finishing in the final game and coming up a couple points short, and I think that's been a motivation all along. And I think the guys understand that they got some unfinished business in that locker room. They want to enjoy the ability to celebrate after a victory, but they also understand too that it's not going to be given to us. Everything's got to be earned. And so I think the motivation for these guys is to go out and earn it.
Hunter's progression, especially coming back off the hand injury, what you see from him.
He's a playmaker, man. He's just a football player. I think if you draw one up, he's not how you're going to draw him up physically. But when you cut one open, he's going to have everything that you want. He's got the football mind. He's got the toughness. He's got the instincts. He's got the humility, the work ethic. And so just to see him continue to grow physically, he's worked really, really hard from where he came in to build his body to be in position to compete. And just watching him and go to work. I mean, he understands leverage. He's got instincts. He understands what we're trying to do. So just like to see him, come back and perform like he did on this stage, like he did last year.
I was going to say, last year, 2 touchdowns, phenomenal.
Yep.